All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's time for Tuesday tefillah. And tefillah, of course, means prayer. And what I thought we would do this afternoon together on this beautiful spring afternoon here in Columbus, Ohio. Yay! Because it feels like Pesach, Passover, is on its way because it feels spring, right? We're ready for revelation and redemption. Right? We're ready for redemption. And so I thought this afternoon, we have a couple more Tuesdays, I think maybe 2 or 3 actually, before Passover. So I thought we would go through some of the important tefillot, the prayers and blessings and fun songs for Pesach that you will be leading with your family. And that, of course, includes the 4 questions and look how much nicer that is this week. Thank you, Jody, our wonderful marketing guru, publicity, everything at Temple Israel. She created these beautiful slides, which now have the correct Hebrew and the correct translation with them. So today we are going to start with maybe learning for the first time or reviewing. Even if you're the oldest in your family, you might be the leader to lead the young ones, or, if you're going to be at a Seder with all adults, right? Maybe it's all the youngest adults of your family, right? So let's practice. I like to remember the 4 questions, right? With like a fun sort of hand motions, right? Why, how, why, and how is this night different from all other nights, right? So first, eat, second, dip, and then lean, right? So we have all these kind of mnemonics or these ways to remember which is the order. Remember, we've talked about that. What does the word Seder mean? Our Seder table comes from the word also Sidur, right? It's just the order and the blessings of our prayers. So let's start. 1 second. Oops. There it is. I was looking for my guitar pick. All right, friends. So we are going to practice. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol halelot mikol halelot shebechol halelot anu ochlim chametz umatzah chametz umatzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah. And the second question, shebechol halelot anu ochlim sha'ayrakot sha'ayrakot halayla hazeh maror halayla hazeh maror. I think I just realized that when we did the hand motions, I skipped the maror, right? First we crunch the matzah, then we maror, then we dip, and then we lean. So now we're at the third question. How could I skip the bitterness, right? Because I'm so focused on the joy, right? And the sweetness of getting out of slavery and the sweetness of spring and getting out of our current plague situation here, right? And the hope is coming. So now we have our third question. Why do we, on all other nights, we don't even dip once? Maybe you do at your table. I like to dip my vegetables. But why on this night do we dip twice? Shebechol halelot ein anu matpilim afilu b'am echat afilu b'am echat halayla hazeh shete Fourth question, on all other nights, we eat sitting upright or reclining. Why on this night do we only recline? I always like to say this is the only night of the year that your parents can't yell at you, for slouching at the table, for putting your elbows up, you still have to use the napkin. I think that's appropriate, but you can still recline. You're free. Shebecho halelo anu ofrim ben yoshvinu le'nesubim ben yoshvinu le'nesubim halayla hazeh kulanu lesubim halayla hazeh kulanu. So let's go back quickly because we didn't answer those questions, right? I was just thinking throughout today when I was doing some work on writing an article for our congregation. I was thinking, last year at this time, we were saying, wow, how is this year going to be so much different? This Passover dinner going to be so much different than years before. And now, a year since last Pesach, I'm still asking the question, but I'm saying, how was this year so different? But let's focus on the actual Seder that doesn't change, right? That's the order doesn't change. And the reasons that we honor our history and our ancestry is the same. So how is this night different from all other nights? On other nights, we eat chametz and matzah. We eat challah and bread and pasta. But on this night, we only eat matzah. And I'm sure some of you know and remember that there wasn't time, right? When the Hebrews were slaves in Egypt, there was not time to bake bread, right? So they had to bake this bread, but not have time for it to rise. And matzah is actually called lechem oni, which means the bread of our affliction, which means the bread that we, ate when we were troubled, but it also means the bread of freedom too. Halachma anya. This is the bread of our affliction, but also the bread of our freedom as well, because this was our nourishment when we were given our freedom out of Egypt, Yetziat Mitzrayim. So on all other nights, we eat all vegetables. On this night, maror. Why? What does that maror symbolize? Well, we know the maror is about the bitterness of slavery. And sometimes we need to physically feel that, not just remember with our minds, but actually physically feel, what is it like, to have that bitter and oppressive feeling. And we have to remember that, because just like we can't really have joy without sadness, we can't really taste the sweetness without really experiencing bitterness in our lives. And all other nights, we don't even dip once. Why do we dip twice? Well, if you remember that the salt water reminds us of our tears, not only our tears, but the tears also of the Egyptians. Because even though we were free, we still feel pain. We still feel pain that they had to go through all those terrible plagues, those 10 plagues. And now, as modern people, we feel what that pain is like too. We dip once for our tears and we dip twice for the ancient Egyptians' tears as well. And now, why can't your parents yell at you for slouching? Because the Seder, and we've talked about this in the past, but this might be new to some of you, the Seder was built around what was called the Greek Symposium, very fancy words. And what that means is that in Greek culture, that the Greeks were free, they weren't enslaved people, so they felt that they could spread themselves out and recline when they dine. And, you might remember the, pictures of ancient Greeks with grapes, eating grapes and having a harp and singing and having this freedom. And so the Seder was sort of built around this Greek symposium, this Greek meal where we feasted and then remembered how grateful we are to be free. So not only do we want to practice the Hebrew to, impress our parents and our family, but we want to know what it means. And also, what are the answers? So those are your answers. You can go back to this video and listen to them again if you want to impress your parents. So now, friends, there are a lot of songs in the Haggadah, and the Haggadah comes from the word lahagid, to tell the story, right? That's the sort of the prayer book that we follow when we tell the story. And there's so many different types of Haggadot, right? Your family might use one from your parents and their grandparents and their grandparents. I remember, this is a true story. I tried to switch the Haggadah my family used when I became a Cantor, because this was the one I loved. And so my family sort of humored me for a year and said, okay, we'll try that. And then the next year they said, sorry, Cantor. But, I was their daughter. They, sorry, we're going back to our family traditions. So this is a song that we sing at the end of the Seder. We don't always get to it, but I think it's a fun melody, and they're easy words. And it's also fun because it repeats itself. We won't do the whole thing, but I want to teach you a little bit of it so we can sing it together also when at Sunday school. So what the chorus means, or what the words mean, God is distinguished, God is great, God is exalted. And the chorus says, may God's house be built soon. And that, of course, is meaning the great temple or the great synagogue. But we have our own throughout the world, our little sacred houses of worship. Speedily, speedily in our days soon, God, rebuild, rebuild, rebuild your house soon. But that's a metaphor for just rebuilding peace in the world. So this goes like this. This song goes like this. Adirhu, yivnei beito bekarov, bimhera, beyamenu bekarov, el bnei veita bekarov. And when we go to the next verse, I want you to see what words repeat, what is the same and what is different. Now, this means, they still translate the same here. God is distinguished, God is great, God is exalted. So Bahur, right? God is chosen, God is great, God is vast, exalted. So the melody repeats. Bahur hu, gadol hu, dagul hu, yivnei beito bekarov, bimhera, beyamenu bekarov, el bnei veita bekarov. One more verse and says, God is pure, God is unique, God is powerful, God is wise, God is sovereign, God is revered, God is sublime, God is all powerful, God is redeemer, God is all righteous. That is a lot, right? Wow, God has high expectations. And guess what? The expectations, no matter what we believe God to be, a force of good, or God is nature, or God is in each other, all those things, God wants us to be pure and unique and powerful and wise and revered, sublime, right? So we can act in God's holy name. So it goes like this. Hadurhu, Batiku, Zakaihu, Chasidhu, Yivnei beito bekarov, bimhera, beyamenu bekarov, el bnei beito bekarov. We won't do the last verse because I think you get the point. But yep, it just repeats and repeats and repeats. Oh my goodness, there's another one. Kadoshu. You guys know that word, right? From kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. God is holy. And so, of course, this is everyone's favorite, Dayenu. And some Haggadot have so many more verses of this song. We customarily sing 3 verses that say, this would have been enough. If God only brought us out of Egypt, this would have been enough. If God only gave us the holiday of Shabbat, it would have been enough. And if God only gave us the Torah, it would have been enough. And some people get confused about this. It's not saying that it was just enough and that's it, but we're so grateful that for our freedom, and we're so grateful for Shabbat, and we're so grateful for Torah, and you kept on giving us all these other blessings. So let's sing. Dai, that song and loves that song. And that really reminds us of Pesach. We sang this last week, I think was just the first one I introduced you to. And it's a really important line in the Haggadah. We were slaves, but now we are a free people. It goes like this. Avadim hayinu, hayinu, ata benechorin, benechorin. Avadim hayinu, ata benechorin. Avadim hayinu, ata benechorin. And then you can speed it up and go faster and faster. That's how we do it at my table. Okay, so we're going to save this one for, I think, Sunday school tefillah, because maybe I'll show a very fun video of Pharaoh, Pharaoh, let my people go. It's Miss Beata's favorite song. Oh, and this one too, when Israel was on Egypt land. We're going to wait. And we'll end today with a blessing that we say at our, every day in tefillah, every Shabbat, every holy day, on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and of course on Passover, we pray for peace. So let's sing this other fun one. I don't have the words here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. But you know this one where we say, may the one who brings peace, who makes peace, bring peace down. So you guys remember this one. Ooh, that sounds a little silly. Let's try that again. Oh, say shalom. Ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu. 1, 2, 3, 4. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom, Biramav. Oh, say shalom. Shalom, my friends. I won't see you on Sunday because there is no Sunday school for spring break this week, but then we'll have, I think, 2 more weeks to keep practicing for Passover. So have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week. Be well. Remember what it is in Hebrew to say, see you later, lehitraot. Bye now.